Welcome to what is the oldest car we have here at Bailout Garage, a 1931 Ford Model A slant windshield sedan. So called because it has the slanted windshield. This is the most steel-bodied Model A they made. Doors are all steel. The only thing that is wood is the roof panels and the header panel. So this car was restored about 8 or 9 years ago, and I just completed 1,000-mile drive in it. When I say just completed, I did it back in May, and I'm just now getting around to cleaning it and servicing it because I've had plenty of other stuff to do. So today we're going to do an oil change, and we're going to replace the battery because the battery was from 2015 when I finished this car and was stone dead. And before we get started, you'll notice there's an oil filter on this engine. We use the oil filter kit available from Bratton's and Snyder's and everybody else. It's a full flow kit, uses a modern filter, the same style you'd find on any small block Ford. Does wonders for keeping your engine alive. This engine also has electronic ignition, a Model B, 4-cylinder intake manifold, and a Model B carburetor, as well as a bunch of other fun things on the inside. So it's quite a lot more powerful than it has any right to be. So today we're going to do an oil change, swap out the battery, and see what else we can find wrong with this thing after driving 1,000 miles. Why am I changing the oil after only 1,000 miles? There's no air cleaner on this engine, and you don't want one on a updraft engine, as when they sit, fuel drips down the throat and into the air cleaner element and starts fires. Air cleaner fires are very common on updraft carburetor equipped cars, and I don't like fires, so we're just not going to go there. You can also see the hole where the battery goes, which is very fun to get to. Having to remove floor panels and carpets and shift levers and all kinds of other fun things. But it's a solid car. It had no issues on its 1,000-mile drive, with the exception that the speedometer quit. So I'll have to yank that and get that rebuilt. But everything else went well. We're going to see how the oil looks and get a fresh battery in it so it's ready for some more cruising around. Yeah. Nasty. Put this on it a little tight. The last thing I'm going to do as part of this oil change is I'm going to cut the filter open and see how this thing has fared in the last, it's probably been 1,200 miles since it was changed, which is fairly long for a Model A. Now these Model A engines only good for about 20,000 miles between major services. Mine is fully inserted, no Babbitt. It's all been machined for modern insert bearings, and it's still only good for about 20,000 miles between major services. So this engine's had about 5,000 miles put on this engine since it was built. And it has been run fairly hard. There we go. All right. Actually pretty good. So a little bit of metal dust in there, but no big flakes, no big chunks. Nothing that looks like any of the race car motors after we've cooked them. So can't complain about that at all. This thing's ready for another 1,000 miles before an oil change. For the 31 Model A, we're going to use Valvoline VR1 High Zinc racing oil. This is a flat tappet motor. Does not have a catalytic converter, so the zinc in it will be real good for the camshaft and for the bearings, and has nothing that can hurt downstream as far as emission systems are concerned. This is what I run in pretty much all the old cars. As long as it doesn't have a catalytic converter, it gets the VR1. If you put this in a car with cats, it will destroy them. Putting oil in this car is a little more annoying than a standard Model A because I've got all this lovely air conditioning stuff in the way. But when you have a black car in Texas, you kind of want air conditioning. And thankfully this kit is completely non-intrusive. Everything on it can be reversed. There's no modifications made to the body or the engine brackets or anything like that. It's all bolt on. So if I ever wanted to get rid of it, I could easily do that. You might ask what possessed me to drive 1,000 miles in a Model A. I'm an alumni of the McPherson College Automotive Restoration Program in McPherson, Kansas. Annually they hold a big car show at the campus at the beginning of May, and it is one of the best car shows you will ever go to. Stuff you'll never see anywhere else. All in one place. Stuff as good as you would find at Pebble Beach or Amelia Island or any Concord like that. And this car actually got second place in the 28 to 42 standard class or something like that. I got beat out by a coffin nose Cord 812, which can't say I blame him. But this car did that drive perfectly. Drove up 500 miles in a day, drove back 500 miles in another day. Nice and easy. A lot of this old car stuff, it very much helps to have small hands. That sounds a little more like it. Yep, that cranks right over. Now the fun part. High tech. F1 cars use a similar way to hold body panels in place. And that is how we do some minor service on a 31 Ford. Guess that means I gotta go take it for a drive now.